guys, it's Michelle McCosh. I'm live at 5. I'm just trying to get us up on Facebook. There we are. Okay. Hi Michelle, hi Teresa. Hey Mitzi. Hi Kathy, hi Jen, hi Doris, hi Michelle. Let's go a little bit more that way, see if that looks any better. I caught a few minutes of it, Michelle. I bookmarked it to go back to when I have time to have a look. Was it good, the Leandra Live? Oh, cool techniques. Oh, good. I'll have to check it out. I know she was using grunge paste, one of my favorite things. Okay, so I thought tonight I would have a start on the Women Who Dare Volume 1 cards that we got, and I think I should, was it yesterday? I don't remember. So I cut 2 planner pages. The die that I had on my table I hadn't put away has the one with the tab. I'm not sure, I know I don't want the tab, so I will cut that off. But I've got the card here. So it has a little bit of history on Frida. She died at the age of 47. So she was born in 1907, she died in 1954, and she just had a really hard life, but she was a spitfire. I mean, you know, her husband cheated on her numerous times, she had polio as a kid, she was impaled in an accident on a bus, she couldn't have children. It wasn't her art that I love as much as her art journals. Her art journals are very, very interesting. So anyway, I wanted to put her on here. All right, so I'm gonna make some background on here. Let me grab my gesso. And I'll gesso these 2 pages up. So I have a lot of Frida stuff. Mitzi did a beautiful jigsaw puzzle at Christmas one time and mounted it in a frame. I have that here in the store. And Clintine made me a Frida book, which I have. And Carol has generously given me pencil cases and handmade paper of Frida. And then little wood pieces and stickers, all kinds of things over the years. So everyone knows how much I love Frida. Think of all the things that happened to her, how much adversity she had in her life, and she just rose above it. But if you ever get a chance, I was lucky enough to see an exhibit that had some pieces of her art, but had a lot of her original art journals, and I thought that was fantastic. So let's just dry the gesso very quick. Now tonight, after this, if you've signed up, we have our alcohol ink technique class online. No snow jam, that is fantastic. Hi Nicole. 80 degrees. That's like very different from last week. Wasn't it last week it snowed? Hey Kippy. I don't know, I can't keep up with the weather up north. It's crazy. Okay, let's see. Baby white. So Frida was well known for her bright colors and her monkeys. But I'm going to use some, I've got Caribbean Sea. I have Yellow Submarine, Flamingo, Cherry Red, and Tangerine Twist. So let's make a very bright and colorful background. So just put a little bit of Cherry Red down. I just, you know what, because I only need a little bit. If I did it on here, it would all spread out. So baby white. Let's pick some up. All right, so let's add a little bit of pink. Oops, that one needs shaking. A little bit of Yellow Submarine next. It melted quickly. Okay, Jen. Hey, Paula, how are you? Funny that you're that you found us tonight. We are working. I don't know if you tuned in at the beginning, but we now have these art cards in the cards, not art cards. Volume 1 and Volume 2 called Women Who Dare, and I was going to journal about a woman every week. Not sure if I'm going to do it on the live all the time, but I will take these on the cruise with me, maybe do a couple pages there. And I'm starting with Frida. Okay, let's add a little Caribbean Sea next. Hi, Jill. This Caribbean Sea is very pretty. Guess I need a little bit more for the next page. And then let's add some Tangerine Twist. And I think that's pretty bright and colorful. Yeah, they're all nice and bright. Oh, no, I grabbed in some of the Caribbean Sea, that's why I've got that green going on there. I'm going to do a couple layers of this one. I wanted it to be more orange. And it was a translucent, which is why it wasn't straight out. I should have checked that. That's okay, we can make it more opaque. That's a bit darker. Yeah, they are very pretty colors, but I think all of their colors are pretty, I'll be honest. One little differentiation between that. I'm just going to dry this very quickly. I'm going to add a little bit more Caribbean Sea in between there. I mean, it doesn't really matter. That could be where I put the card. I'm going to do some stenciling on top. She was well known for tropical flowers, so I've got some tropical flowers stamped and cut out too. Okay, just breaks that up a little bit. Okay, so let's see. I cut out a lot of Tracy Scott flowers from before, and I threw them in here with some other things that I'd stamped and not used. So let's pull them out so we can use them. So you're probably saying to yourselves, Michelle, it's a very small page. You don't need to pull all the flowers. And you're right. But I wanted ones that were cut. Okay. And some of these need to be colored, obviously. And I think I want to write about her. So I could kind of put her in a frame of flowers. I do need to do something to the background to make it more interesting. I just want to see what this does. I have a half a butterfly here. I have some more flowers. Let's see. I think I'm going to have to play with that a bit more. But you kind of get the idea, right? She's bright, she's colorful. Need to write about her. So I could even put her on this side. I could get a journaling card, but let's work on that background because I think I am going to use those flowers. But let's make this more interesting. So let me grab this stencil because I have it right here, and for no other reason. And I know I have a sponge here. So let me get some more of the tangerine twist. Yeah, that is a beautiful stamp, right? This is Tracy Scott stamp. I also have a book. Actually, Paula gave me the book about Frida Kahlo's life. It's like her autobiography, and I often will take pages out of there and use it as well. So I'm going to grab that book. So the trick to stenciling, if you don't want it to go under the stencil, is to have kind of a drier sponge. You can always add more if you need to. And then a pouncing motion. And that will stop the paint from going underneath and giving you a mess. The number one reason that people aren't successful at stenciling is because they have too much liquid on their sponge. Do a little bit more on this side, and then I'm going to go find a stamp. Yeah, stencils are a lot of fun, and you can use them in many different ways. You can even run them through an embossing machine and emboss that on your work as well. Okay, all right, let me dry that, and I'm going to grab a stamp. you go. Okay, and I do want to ink the edges as well black. Or gray, because that's what I have here. Oh, let me cut this off. I had the ECD die and tag set in front of me, which is why I use it to die cut that one. I just didn't want those tabs on it. Let me grab the background stamp. Let's see, what do I have available? Hang on. All right, I've got this one HP 1503, and then I have this one MN 124. So let's do a little bit of writing. Let's have a think. Do I want to do it with paint or do I want to do it with ink? I want to do it. Let me do it with ink. Let me get another color out. Good thing about this paint is you can use distress ink on top of it. So I'm going to go with spiced marmalade. Let's start with that. It's going to be a little subtle, but it's just a background. And then I'm going to, well, I'll do a bit more of that here. Okay, now I'm going to grab a pink. Let's go with warm lipstick. go with the salvage patina. This one I'm going to just wipe off a little bit. Okay, so you can see it's a bit more interesting now, the background, right, with a little bit of text on it. I'm going to dry that ink and I'm going to grab the other stamps. Hey, Pat. Okay, let me grab this one. Okay. Stamp block. Very interesting stamp. I like that one. I'm going to pull this one. This one I'm going to stamp upside down. And I'm going to pull it again, part of it at the top. So it's going to frame my card. Let me see if I can find where I did the card. Well, here it is. So it'll kind of be framed in between there as well. That's my thought. Grab my... Yes, red is definitely one of Frida's colors. Bright, bright colors. That's why I've got the flowers. Has anybody else been to, actually Paula and I went together. We went and saw an exposition at the local West Palm Beach. It wasn't as good as the one I saw in Fort Lauderdale though. They didn't have her art journals there, but they did have some replica Mexican clothing and some of her art. Okay, let's try. What's she holding on that card? Looks like just her scarf. Standing by a cactus, and it looks like her scarf goes around her neck and she's just holding it up. But I think that'll be nice. And then I've got all these flowers that I do need to color in. Oh, there's the phone again. Selena, the phone's ringing. So I've got to do some coloring of the flowers. But you went to the West Palm one as well, Michelle? It was good, right? Just the one I saw down in Fort Lauderdale was excellent because it had all her art journals, well, not all of them, but quite a few pages on display. And she's very, very expressive in her art journals. Okay, I need to go because I got to get ready for, oh, it's all chicken legs. Oh, yeah, no chicken legs here. I need to go get ready for the class. So I will see you guys at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Oh, before I forget, I did put some new stuff up under Just In. It was some of the new All and Create that will be here tomorrow. There's a few stamp sets that I put up. So if you want, go check that out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow at 5. Have a good night. Bye.